music is everything. You know, it was my first introduction to art, and I think it kind of is everybody's. I think it's the most accessible art form. Everybody can't go to the Louvre and look at the Mona Lisa, but when it comes to music, there isn't the financial barrier that exists with other art forms in terms of making it and in terms of enjoying it. It's incredibly important to me. So if you want to take a look at our story, you know what I'm saying, you kind of got to start there.
We wanted to make sure that the cast and everyone were on the same page with the world that we're building and the world that Ryan envisioned for the music. And a lot of times, sound and music has bigger impact than reading a script. By really envisioning, understanding it, you need to also hear it. Ryan is such a unique storyteller. There's a lot of musical beats and musical ideas in his tonal language. And that's why I feel like it's so easy for us to work together and for him to work with musicians. We can really talk and discuss rhythm and music. Ryan told me that this movie is kind of a love letter to his uncle. It was his uncle that always played blues music when he was around. He's always told me he would love for me to work with him on a guitar-based film. It's kind of a full circle where I started out as a guitar player, as a musician, and Ryan went and did a guitar-driven film.
You know, while I was finishing up the script, you know, I was able to take a trip out to Mississippi for the first time and go on a blues trail. And Ludwig was right there with me every step of the way.
Ryan and Ludwig wanted to kind of see the Mississippi Delta, so I took them to Clarksdale, went to Cleveland, B.B. King Museum. So I connected them with a lot of current and OG legacy blues musicians like Bobby Rush, Cedric Burnside, Super Chicken, and a lot of these people are either in the film or you can hear their music in the film.
Do you know I'm in the blues club was here? I come here 67 years ago this year. They had so many blues clubs, some of them I didn't ever get a chance to make it to.
So Buddy Guy is somebody who I learned about through my uncle James, who passed away in 2015. Whenever Buddy Guy would tour, you know, my mom, my cousin, you know, they would all get dressed up to go see Buddy Guy. And they would take pictures before they leave to go to the concerts. You know, he would come back and talk about it. So I knew Buddy Guy as, you know, essentially my uncle's favorite living musician. In preparation for this film, I kind of knew that I had to at least reach out to him, you know, to see if he could play old Sammy at the end of the movie. You know, I thought that would just be such a nice touch if we could pull that off. Never in a million years I think we could have a shot at it. Zenzi and I, we flew out to Chicago and met with him. It was at his blues club, you know, Legends, you know, right there in Chicago's packed house. And when we got in there, he had his whole family in there. And he basically like said he was in before we even had a chance to talk about what we were doing, you know. And talking to him that day, I realized, man, that was his life. You know, he grew up as a sharecropper in Louisiana, which is right next to Mississippi, and came up, you know, the hard way. You know, went to Chicago, learned under those guys that kind of invented it, you know, your Muddy Waters, your Howlin' Wolves, the contemporary of Bobby Rush.
Sounds really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say to you like I say from the stage every night, when I first go to the stage, people have frowns on their face. If I hit the right note, it's go to a smile.
Yeah.
So when you came in smiling, I must have hit one note on it.
I wanted to be as authentic as possible. And it was very important that we got to work with the right artists and songwriters and give them the room and give them the space to feel comfortable. And then I had 5 days of recording in Memphis. We had Alvin Youngblood on guitar, Bobby Rush was there.
To keep the blues alive, you're keeping the roots of music alive, because the blues is the root of all music. If you don't like the blues, you probably don't like your mama.
And then after that, I went to Nashville, recorded with Brittany Howard. I recorded with Raphael Sadiq, some amazing songwriters and artists that I think could channel that spirit of that type of music.
Usually Ryan will make a movie. Ludwig will spend a few months going around the world, traveling, recording soundscapes, musicscapes, and putting together this beautiful score. This time he had to do all of that stuff before we shot the movie.
It was a different way of coming closer to the film, coming closer to the story. Serena and I moved from LA, we brought our kids, we moved to New Orleans to set so we can be there for 3 months and made sure that all these songs got recorded. All the actors were learning the songs. We were practicing with them. We were having them come in, record different versions. There's so many musicians in the scenes. We had to hire them. It was so much work on the production side that I'm not used to. You want to start with the guitar this time? Yeah, that sounds really good.
Oh, let it shine.
Miles is obviously a musical genius, but how easy everything comes to place for him, like his vocals. He never really played guitar before, and he just learned to play his solo in a very short amount of time, and also was able to perform that live on set.
It was definitely a challenge, but I had some help by this guy. His name is Randy Bolin. He's a great guitarist, and we went to the studio every day. He taught me like the fundamentals of, the guitar, and taught me how to use the slide and everything like that. And so I'm just proud of what I was able to accomplish in that short amount of time.
There's a scene where Miles and Michael B. Jordan are sitting in the car together, and Miles is playing Traveling. That's the first time that Stack hears him play. And that was the first time Michael B. Jordan heard him play too. The reaction you see from Stack's face is genuine.
It's been challenging. I do not play piano. I do not play keyboard. I do not play harmonica. That was what was interesting to me about the prospect of doing this work.
The important part is just to get those two rhythms. Bum, 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 in your arms tonight. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Delroy Lindo came by every day for piano lessons.
In the beginning, it's all wiggle, and then after that, it's just rhythm. So, and you did it perfect.
I just like when I see piano players on camera and they look like they're having conniptions because they don't really play. And I'm like, who told them to do that? Like, no piano player goes, nobody does that. What are you doing, man? But with him, he looks so stinking natural. And it's because he actually, like I said, he's a master at what he does. And he just gives me exactly back what I'm giving him. So I love that.
So that's when you can pull your hands up, higher, or off, you know what I mean? That's the only time. But everything else is just right in here, you know what I mean?
To me, the blues, you'll know. It's one of those things that you'll know here. And it can't be written out. It can't be, taught, because it's a story of the pain and struggle that you've had.
It would have been easy to just have a recording and then just have Delroy Delta Slim just fake it and move his hands, but we wanted to do it as authentic and the best way we could possibly do. We were able to have Bobby Rush be on set. We would put the extras in a circle and Bobby Rush would sit so they couldn't see him on camera. And he would play the harmonica while Delta Slim is miming the harmonica.
When you hear, that's the Bobby Rush.
So that performance that you hear in the film where Delroy is playing harmonica is actually Bobby Rush playing live. Can you just sing like and do a breath in? There you go.
Perline's performance was a living, breathing thing. I hadn't yet heard the song that Ludwig was working on, and the first day I sat down and I got to hear it, I heard the opening scream. I was like, wait, is that me? Am I supposed to be doing that? Wait, go back, say that again. I was like, okay, this is different than the song I had to put myself on tape for. All right, let's get to work.
What about some screams? If you're okay with doing that with your voice, I don't know if you have any acting to do tomorrow.
As of now, no.
Okay. Okay, maybe just a few, so I don't want to blow your voice out.
You don't care if they're on pitch, do you?
No.
That's what I said.
It's gonna be a whole new song just using that sound.
And like the Saturday before we were going to shoot it was the first time getting to do it with the band. And that brought it to a whole other level. Ludwig and Serena really helped me access a freedom in my singing that I'd been dying to have that I'm just now starting to tap into because of them. Having that level of command over the performance because of the level of preparation was really crucial and paid off.
Sorry I had to take you to some weird place.
No, you would have to help me out there because I would have not thought to do any of those sounds.
This is your moment.
Thankfully, Serena was there so we could do everything together. Her engagement with the actors, with the choreographer, how she was able to pull all these things together, putting all these rehearsals together, the time that it took would have been impossible otherwise.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
There's blues music, but there's also a huge component of Irish folk music. How do you marry those worlds together and make it feel like it's part of the same universe?
It was honestly kind of embarrassing when Serena, who is like an amazing concert violinist, was like, you play fiddle in this scene. And I was like, cool, we're going to need to have like at least 10 lessons to get it to look like I can play the fiddle. And then she was like, we have 5 minutes. There was also a choir of like 30 Irish singers.
So let's do the first verse and chorus and end there. See? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Down among the pigs, play some funny rigs, we dance some hearty jigs, the water around me bubbling, pump the hair and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly-da.
By the time that we were ready to shoot the musical scenes, we had usually recorded the song 5 or 6 times in different styles.
I'm really excited, you know, who gets to work on 16th century kind of Irish cultural dance. You know, I hadn't.
Not just like popular Irish music, like the real deal, the genuine stuff.
You know, we brought on some serious pros from Dublin who really know the culture and the history of it to kind of help guide me and my movers through the process.
Rocky Road to Dublin is amazing and also challenging to sing and challenging to play.
Yeah, we're gonna do the last chorus. And then stomp and do some ad-libs up until measure 29.
We were singing it a lot with Jack O'Connell and with the choir. It took the choir a lot of takes to get that right in New Orleans.
Up the hair and turn it down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly-da.
There were days I just felt like Beyonce. I was doing my music recording in the morning and then I was going to rehearse a dance. I just felt like a massive pop star.
Outer circle, raise your hand. You guys are gonna go clockwise to your left.
We spent weekends rehearsing, practicing, getting everyone on the same page about how to pull this off. The energy of what that scene is, the propulsion of what's happening on set is exactly what we were doing to pull it off.
Let's be honest, this is a musical. I don't care what nobody says. This is a drama, comedy, thriller, vampire, horror musical, okay?
I was just so impressed with how Ryan tied the music into the story. It's all tied together with such care, so it feels so natural. I feel so lucky to be a part of something like this.